Hello, welcome to Simply Liminal. My name is Stacy. This is my daily 2-card reading for Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. I can't believe we're in July already. I'm excited always about the month of July. I was born in July at the end of the month, and so I just always love this month. And there's a lot of great things about the month of July. Where I'm from, it is like high, full summer, and that's a wonderful thing. Everything is growing and flourishing, and crops are starting to ripen, and you're like thinking by the end of July that it's time to harvest. But here at the beginning of the month, things are still really spreading and reaching and growing, and that is a beautiful thing. So this week, we are working with the Oracle of the Hecatean Path by Ken Payne and Chris Butler. And I will say, as I've said every other day of these readings, I never expected that I'd be using this deck for readings on this channel, but I am. At the end of, when I did my summer solstice reading or the Litha celebration reading, I pulled 3 cards and that talk about things that we're trying to initiate or bring in this season, which will lead us really through August 1st. So all through the end of June and the month of July. And all 3 of those cards felt very much like Hecate energy to me. And so I felt very strongly guided to use this deck in spite of what I thought I would do, or what decks I would ever use or not ever use on this card channel. Here we are, working with this energy of Hecate. And the authors, Ken Payne and Chris Butler, say this in their guidebook. Hecate is complex and often misunderstood. She is a torchbearer, a cosmic world soul, a guide, a mistress of the restless dead, a key bearer at the crossroads of life, death, and rebirth, and that she has adapted into many world cultures and spanned many, many centuries. Now, if you'd like, think of this as energy working around us, not necessarily a being that walks the earth as we tend to think about in mythology, but energy or archetypes that help guide us. And she is definitely here in our life in that way. She is the goddess of liminal spaces. And it is one of the reasons that I love liminal spaces, and one of the reasons I named my channel Simply Liminal. I love the dusk and the dawn. I love pathways, gateways, doorways. These are all special places, special things associated with her energy. So they have divided this deck up of 60 cards into 3 things. We look at epitaphs, which are the ancient names or titles for Hecate, symbols, which are tools that were associated with Hecate across time, and then gods and spirits. So these are either beings that are associated, merged with, or conflated with Hecate, and beings or energies or archetypes, if you like. You can use whatever word that you like. So as always, we're looking at 2 things. We look at the energy card, which is the force that's directed towards us from the universe. And then we look at the focus card, which is our intention, effort, or response that we put back into that energy. So let's take a look at our energy card for today. And then let's look at our focus card. Okay. One thing I really haven't mentioned, I did mention, I guess, in one of my readings, was this symbol here that you'll see, at least the symbol in the middle. Pick this up so you can look at it, is called the Strophalos. There is a whirling star or imagery in the middle, followed by this sort of maze-like. Some people will say this is a snake. Some say this is a path. It's definitely 3 sections, which are very apparent. And this has become a symbol in our modern times that is associated with Hecate. So, called the Strophalos. If you see this symbol, it is most strongly associated with her energy. So let's take a look at our energy card for today. Yesterday's reading, if you didn't read that, go back and check it out, July 1st. It kind of was like, we are just not pulling out any pauses or stops. Just came out with a bang, that reading. So let's take a look at our energy card for today. All right, this is beautiful. We have Philermos and the lover of solitude. And the message is retreat. So it's interesting because yesterday we were like racehorses jumping out of the, the gates. But today the overall energy is retreat. And sometimes we need that when we have a lot of action. Then we need a pause. That's a good thing. It's a healthy thing to have these pauses where we can kind of learn or think about or process everything that happened. So the message here from Lover of Solitude and Retreat is, now is the time to focus inwardly on self-care and reconnecting to our practice. The magical maxim to keep silent also comes to mind. Now is not the time to talk about our devotions or even our love of the goddess. Focus on finding your own way to her rather than helping or relying on others. Withdraw, reflect, process. Silence is golden. When we are still and truly listen, only then do we hear the truth. So sometimes we need to have a pause, a sacred retreat, some meditation, some time in nature without anything to influence us or distract us, and see what that means for each and every one of us. It'll be different for each and every one of us. But this is kind of telling us to take a pause, and that's okay. Okay, so let's take a look at our focus card to see how we're going to work with this energy. We have Hecate's Depnon, and the message on the bottom is sacrifice. And these, in the artwork here, these are things that she tends to be associated with. We have bread, we have honey, we have eggs, we have garlic, and this is rosemary. And so the message here says sacrifice, but you can think about this as offerings or things that are gifts. And so let's take a look at the message on the card so we know how we're going to work with this overall energy of the day, which is retreat and solitude. So Hecate's Depnon, that basically translates to a supper. And the message being sacrifice says, the traditional offering to Hecate left at the crossroads symbolizes the reciprocal nature of working with an ancient deity. However, you will not necessarily get what you want just because you ask for it. Developing a gracious rapport with Hecate is a great way of cultivating favor, but be aware that here she only works with what you need to be given at the time, not necessarily what you desire. Contemplate what sacrifices you have made or might need to make in order to better yourself or your circumstances. So I think the key word here in this message is contemplate, and we know that the energy is retreat and kind of taking some time. So I think this is a day for quiet, for seeking some solitude, for thinking about your life, the things around you, the people in your life, the things in your life, what you might want from life. Just sit and let the answers come to you, because they will. And sometimes we already know the answer. We've just been resisting it. But take this time, quiet and solitude. Think about things that are important to us. Contemplate what is special and how we're going to get to the next step. I just want to read this last line again. Sorry, I closed my book. This last line here. Contemplate what sacrifices you have made or what you might need to make in order to better yourself and your circumstances. So think about these things. Take this energy of retreat and solitude and quiet, and maybe what you need to do is seek the night sky. This card is very much talking about the night sky. Here is a crescent moon, which actually we're getting closer to the new moon phase. So we might be seeing this little bit of the crescent moon in the sky. But, you know, sometimes I find great clarity out in the night, in the darkness, listening to the night birds sing, looking at the stars sparkling in the sky. So maybe this is the time of day you need to seek this solitude and contemplate on the answers for you. Okay. Interesting reading, especially considering yesterday's reading, which was really action and go for it. And today is sort of like a pause, like a sacred pause, going within ourselves to finding the answers that we know are there. So I hope you found the reading helpful or connected with it in some way. Please like, please subscribe, please share. I hope you're enjoying this deck in all the ways that I'm using this deck currently. So anyways, I'm just going with the flow and seeing where it's going to take me, which is a beautiful and wonderful thing. And I'm grateful for the guidance that got me here. So thank you all again. My name is Stacy. Thank you for visiting Simply Liminal with me. Have a wonderful day. And then I will see you tomorrow, Wednesday, for our final reading with this deck for this week. All right. Have a good one. Bye.